everyone, it's me, KittyKlutz. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a Roblox GFX, or how I make my thumbnails. So if you want to know how to make a Roblox GFX, keep on watching. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is you want to double click onto Roblox Studio if you have it. I have a Windows 10 computer, so I'm going to be teaching you the way I do it on my computer. Okay, so now that you have Roblox Studio up and running, you're going to click on base plate. You don't need any of these fancy things, you just need base plate, and it'll say loading place, please wait. For plugins, I already have the plugin I need here, but you're going to go to Home, Toolbox, and then you are going to search for plugins, and then search for load character. And so here you want the one with 8,160 votes, because that is the correct one and that is the best one to use. Anyone that costs Robux is not the one you want, because not only will it waste your Robux, but there's already a free one, so the free one is much better, and it doesn't cost as much and doesn't cost at all. And then you're going to click on it, and then it'll tell you if you want to download it, and then once you download it, it'll be in your plugins. But here it's already in my plugins, so I'm just going to click on load character, and then I'm going to get rid of the name that was already there. And so I typed in my username, Fluffy236rules, and then you want to make sure that the X is here for spawn at origin. Basically, it'll just spawn at the middle of the base plate, so that way it's not just at some random part of the map. You just want to make sure that's spawned at origin. And if you're doing a simpler pose, you can click spawn R6, or you can spawn R15 if you want to move the limbs around more. I'm going to spawn R15 though, because I am going to teach you how I make my more complex poses. Okay, so here you have Fluffy236rules, which is your character model, and then you're going to see anything that you don't want here. So let's say I don't want these cherry blossoms. Then I could just click delete, or you can just right click and then scroll down to delete. I sometimes add the cherry blossoms in my thumbnails, but sometimes it gets in the way, so I just delete it. And let's say you want to add a face to your character. Okay, so I went into Toolbox, then I clicked Models, and then I typed in Face, and I like to use the super happy face a lot, so I'm just going to just drag it from the toolbox into my game. And then, as you can see, there's a decal, and we only need the decal. So we're going to right click and then cut, and we're just going to delete the other part that we don't need. And then we are going to go to our character, and then we are going to go to her head. And so here you right click on face, and then you click delete, and then you right click on head and then paste into, and now you have the face. And so let's say I want my arm to bend like this, kind of like my arm is on my hip, and then I can have one arm that's raised up in the air. So as you can see with the R15 model, there's a left foot, left hand, and there's all these different kinds of body parts. And when you're making a GFX, you usually want to start out with just the R6 to get the basic poses, but I'm going to be teaching you how to make a more complex pose. So you're going to take the left lower arm, you're going to click the rotate, and then I'm only going to rotate it that much, and then you're just going to click move. And then you've got the green arrow, which makes it go this way, or the red arrow that makes it go this way, or the blue arrow that makes it go that way. So we're just going to move it down a little bit, back to where it was. By the way, if you would like to go slower in the Roblox Studio, you just click Shift, and so now you can control it and make it go slower. Anyways, you're going to find the left hand, and then you're just going to drag it wherever you wish, kind of like that. Oh, that does not look right. Okay, so once you figured it out and you've bent it to the way you wanted to, now for this arm, we are going to lift it up into the air. Now this is usually easier to do with R6 because since it's all one limb for R6, all you have to do is click rotate and it'll rotate the entire arm. However, with R15, you kind of have to bend all of the parts to make it look right. So first you're going to start off with the right upper arm, and then you're going to click rotate, and then you're going to rotate it directly up. So just like that. Don't worry, it looks weird now, but I promise you it won't look weird later. Then you're going to right click on the right lower arm, and then you're going to rotate it and then you're going to rotate it like this, and then you're just going to drag it up and move it to here, like so that way it connects to the upper arm. You don't want it to be too far away because then it looks really weird, and you don't want it to be like too inside of the arm because it'll look weird as well. So just figure out what looks normal, you know, at least I hope you can figure out what looks normal. Okay, welcome back. Are you bored yet? Okay, so where it says your username, Fluffy236rules, or whatever username you have, click to export selection, and then once you're done with that, you're going to go to desktop, and then I'm just going to name this one tutorial. Next, you're going to go to Blender. I have the older version, so I have Blender 2.79. So I have the older version, so if you have the newer version, then I'm sorry, I cannot teach you. But what I did to download Blender is I went to Chrome, or any web browser you have, and then in your browser, just type in Blender, and then 2.79, and then 2.79 blender.org. And so here it'll ask you if you want to download the latest Blender or to download Blender, the old version, and click the one for the old version. It says not recommended, but I personally recommend it. And then once you click on here, it'll bring you to index of release / Blender 2.79, and then it's going to have all of its updates and releases and everything. And so here, if you have the 64-bit version of Windows, then you're going to download the Blender 2.79b Windows 64.zip, and if you have 32-bit Windows, then you're going to download the one for 32 bits. Anyways, once you've downloaded that and you're back, hello, welcome back. You're gonna click X on your keyboard and it'll say OK, and then you're gonna click delete. And then you're going to click on File, Import, and then wavefront.obj. So it just stands for object, and then it's gonna have whatever you named it .obj. You're gonna click on that and then click Import OBJ. So to move yourself around, just click Shift F, and then to go faster, you're just gonna click Shift and then click so that way it stops, and then you're going to, there's a red arrow to move it horizontally like that from side to side, and then there's a blue arrow that moves it up and down, and then there's a green arrow that moves it forward and backwards. you can just position it, or like if you want to rotate your character, like sometimes in my thumbnails, my character is rotated, then you can rotate it like this, like kind of to the side over here. It depends on what is happening in the thumbnail. But I'm just gonna keep it forward because there's nothing else happening other than her waving and with her arm on her hip. And so you're gonna notice that she's all white and gray, or like this whitish gray color. And you're gonna click on this little plus button here next to all the properties and everything, and you're going to click on, there's multi-texture, and you're gonna click textured solid. And so now it has the texture back, and now it's not all white and sad and depressing. And then you're gonna click ambient occlusion. And of course you want your thumbnail to look as beautiful and crisp as possible. Anyways, there's gonna be shading in the camera properties. And so here it'll say alpha, and you wanna change it from sky to transparent. A PNG file just means that there is no background. So that means that you can go onto Google, download whatever picture you want, and you can overlay this and there won't be anything blocking it in the way. Next, you're gonna click onto the world icon, and then you're gonna click ambient occlusion again, environmental lighting, and indirect lighting. And then once you're done with all of that stuff, you know, the fancy schmancy stuff, we're going to fix up her arms a little bit because you can tell that they don't look perfect, and that is completely a-okay. Okay, so once you're done adjusting the limbs and things to make it look the way you want, you're going to click onto the lamp right here, and then you're just going to move it wherever you want to. You don't want it too close to the character because that'll make it look very bright and it won't look very good. So basically I'll move it over here and make it look like in a natural spot, like if the lamp was over there just projecting its light onto my face. That's amazing. My beautiful face. Okay, so now for the resolution, you don't want to make it too much of a file, like too huge of a file. I'd say just make it around 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels. And so now you click 0 on your number pad, or just 0 on your keyboard in general, and then you're going to click Shift F again so that way you can move your camera. And then here, you can get her whole body in the shot, or you can get just this part. I'm gonna get her whole body in the shot. Even if I'm not gonna use her whole body, I still get a picture of her whole body anyway, just in case if I change my mind later on. And then afterwards, you're gonna click render, and then render image. And it won't take that long depending on how many pixels you put here. And now that I have my picture here, it's all ready. I'm just gonna click on image and then save as an image. And then I'm gonna go to save it to my desktop so that way I can find it later. And then I'm just gonna call it again. And again, I'm just gonna name it tutorial. And then save as image. And so now you'll notice that it's saved to your desktop. And then now you are just going to go onto Chrome, and then we are going to type in Pixlr into our browser. It's completely free. I use pixlr.com/x/, and then we're going to click create new, and then you're going to click web 720p, because this is the format that YouTube uses for their thumbnails. They use 1280 by 720, and then you're going to name it whatever you want to name it as. I'm going to name it tutorial again. And where it says background, and then I'm going to click on add image, and then I'm going to click browse. And here, wherever your pictures are, you're going to go to your desktop because that's where you saved it. And then right here we have the tutorial GFX. And so I could put it right in the middle of my screen, or I can put it right here and I could say stuff and have someone else with me, or I can have just this part of my body in the thumbnail.